Hi there. So I'm going to start with beginning stages. I wrote a little list so I won't get so sidetracked, but I'll more than likely tell of a few experiences as I go along, because that's the way it goes. But okay, so I've got down beginning stages. You'll feel like people know your personal life. Check. You'll feel like they may be reading your mind. Check. You'll be paranoid. Check. You'll begin to trust nobody. Check, check. You'll be connecting several dots and patterns together. I've also got, what's this here? People are out to get you. The isolation. You're constantly alone, constantly confused. You're angry. You're up, you're down, you're emotional. You're mad at yourself for being angry and paranoid. All these beginning stages. You'll be in like the flight or fight mode, and we still pretty much are most of the times, but once you know what the program is about a bit more, and learn the tactics and patterns and routines, you become a little bit more aware and you can be a little bit more calm with things, you see. And sometimes I'll explain a story that took place and it'll be like, I'll be swearing away and stuff because I'm reliving it at the moment. It's a whole bunch of traumas that led up to certain stories that I've told, and that's when a lot of swearing will come about because I was in flight or fight mode. And you're gonna swear, you're gonna cuss, you're gonna freak out, you're gonna roll with it, especially when it's a tangent and it's coming out of your mind and it's a story. Trying to put it together in pieces to make sense can sometimes be hard, but sometimes a lot of swearing can also be involved. Okay, anything else that I got written down here? Of course, you begin to think most everybody is in on it, which is true. The majority of the people that you feel are in on it more than likely are, but once the mind gets paranoid and you're going through fight or flight, you begin to trust nobody. You begin to go, you're just so overwhelmed with, you're not going to believe or trust anybody, and that will bring on more isolation, so that therefore they can do more setups, more tactics, and they can isolate you more, and in hopes that you commit suicide, or maybe they'll come in and kidnap you. Maybe they'll come in and rape and kill you. Maybe I'll be outside in my forest and a hunter will be out there and I'll accidentally go missing, shot or killed, and oh, we didn't know. We thought she was a deer. These are realities for me. And okay, so now here's where some tangents start in. I think I'm pretty much done with some beginner list stuff here for now. So tangents of hunters in my woods back there. I have 80 acres of land that surrounds me, and that's hard to fathom. I just got a good deal on it back in 2002 and was lucky enough to be able to move here and live here. And I appreciate living off the land, in the land, with the land, having it around me. The farmers do their thing, I do my thing, averagely. But some of the organized community gang stalking gets played out. What they like to do is bring street theater to me. Like, say if I'm not out going to the city and dealing with city humans and all that kind of city targeting that goes on, it's a little bit different in the rural because I have experienced both. I've experienced the city gang stalking stuff and this rural, living in the country, gang stalking stuff is a similar but different ballgame. Because of the land that surrounds me like this, kind of puts me at risk for things like hunters. Hunters like to go way out back somewhere, kill, shoot animals, make up setups so that they can shoot and kill my dog and then come over and brag about it and do some more threats. And they like to involve cops with my targeting. So they set up these scenarios where I'll feel vulnerable and have to call the police, It's part of the game. But of course, over time, it's like, yeah, well, I ain't calling no cops. What are they going to do? They're going to come out here and harass me is what they're going to do. And it's just so many freaking things there, too. Is like, at the beginning stages, too, going back to even 2006 for me, shortly after my house burnt down, I was getting moved out of my camping trailer. I had to live in a camping trailer for a while, from April 4th till November 4th, and then it just got too cold, so I had to move into the small town that I talk about nearby and rent a place for a bit, because the house I'm in now didn't really fully exist. There was no heat, no lights. It was a slow process getting a new house that's like a garage package type of house because of the circumstances. I did have insurance and yada, but that's not the point here. I'm sidetracking. Oh, I can't remember. Sorry. Pause this for a sec to come back and think. Right, I was trying to connect the dots with the hunters on the property. Just give myself a couple minutes to kind of think through this stuff here. And I was talking about the hunters on the land, and then I went to 2006 when I started noticing that they're coming into this house. And I was getting to know different neighbors, because when your house burns down and the severity of it all, they kind of gathered. It was a gathering moment for some of them, so then you get to know some of them a little bit more. Like some of my neighbors can be like a quarter of a mile away, are farther, like 7, 8, 12 kilometers away, but it's still my neighbor. So anyways, I kind of got to know some of them, and some of the stalking and harassment got a little worse with things like this one person in particular would come over and come in my house when I'm not home. Actually, more than one, but the one I'm trying to focus on here is they'd come in my house when I'm not home, and I would know it. And then after a while, it's like, why are they still coming in my house when, like, I have made it very clear? And things like my keys for the house went missing. And then they magically reappeared in the spring. One set was on the ground outside, and the other set I can't remember. But the weird thing is I only had one set. So now magically there's 2 sets. And that was strange and bizarre. Those were first stage kind of things at the beginning, 06, 07, 08, And 06 too, with this one particular individual. Some people in their bathroom, they may read. Well, this one particular person, there was a neighbor, and you use their bathroom. They have reading material there, and the pages would be like folded over in their thing, And I'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, I wasn't sitting there reading them. You can just clearly see it when you're taking a pee or whatever, and it's there. So over time, I learned this profile of this person folds their pages for reading material, whatever. This is a small thing, but later it came in handy when my write-ups, my journal write-ups, my personal thoughts to maybe my city lists, or because I make a list, go to the city, get my supplies, stuff like this, garden lists. They were all getting folds in. I'd be like, well, what the hell? I don't fold my books. I don't fold my own write-ups. When I'm done with the list, it's like, check, and you're done with it. So things like that became very peculiar back in 06 for me. And what I started to do was plant fake ones. I'd be like writing up a bunch of fake shit, throw them off, because whoever that profile was, which later it was more than just the one particular neighbor that folds his book, because there was many other coincidences like that, and it wasn't fitting the same profile as this neighbor that folds his books in the bathroom. So there's plenty of different piles, different neighbors, different this, different that. And for me, neighbors, like I said, is very different. Because in the city, you got a neighbor that can hear me talking on this video right outside the window in their house. I don't have that. I have forest, I have deers, I have hunters, like I said, that think that they can go hunting on the land, kill the animals on my fucking property, and then go killing my dogs, poisoning my cats. They like to also set it up where, because I am an animal person, I have a good heart for animals, I love them, yes, and I've always had dogs, I've always had cats. Not so much when I lived in the city did I have cats. I had one cat eventually because too much city rules with cats, but I was always a dog girl. And anyways, so they use that against me by putting setups. Like I say, when I don't go out to the city, sometimes I won't go for a month or so because just my lifestyle doesn't, if I have enough supplies here, I don't really need to run off to no city to do something unless I need supplies or something. So, oh darn it, got sidetracked again. Which story am I trying to tell now, jeepers? Yes, back to the hunters in the back. That's a very disturbing story because there's so many parts to it, and they've been doing it to me now for many, many years. They've taken down fence line to come in. They've even held my animals hostage before. Okay, there's this one strange event. I was down to 2 dogs, and they were 2 older dogs, which are still alive and with me now. However, right now I have 5 dogs, so I was down to 2 dogs at the time. And I came home, and they usually want to go outside when the human comes home because they got to do their business. So I, of course, let them outside for what I call a quick rip. Because I can trust the 2 older dogs. They're not going to run off too far. They're just going to stay nearby the yard and rip around. Well, because I had suspicions of people coming in through the front trees and stuff, I decided I'm going to get some of these solar lights and go put these solar lights in the trees where they can still get light, where I know humans have been trespassing. And this is just in my front yard part. This isn't even in the back. This is in the front yard part. And in the front yard part too, I also have an outhouse that's just kind of on the pathway. And when I let the 2 dogs out for their quick rip at night, well, I'm thinking I'm going to put these solar lights out front now so that they can get the sun during the next morning. It was about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning when I decided I better do this before bed. Put these lights out, let the dogs for a rip. I'd been home, this kind of stuff. All of a sudden, one dog goes one way, one dog goes the other way. I'm thinking, maybe deers or something, and they're just spooking them away. Next thing I know, I hear the one go this way, bark, 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 bark. The other one went this way, bark, 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 and it was a different kind of bark. I thought maybe a porcupine, and the other one's after a deer. It's common. So I'm all, yeah, okay, give it up. Come on back. It's probably just a porcupine, come on. And because they're older, they'll listen, and they're usually, oh yes, I'm on my way. They wouldn't give it up. They wouldn't give it up. So as I'm walking with these solar lights in the dark with the outside light on, there is no street lights out here, and I had no flashlight with me, but it's kind of a fuller moon out, so I could see okay. And I'm walking with these solar lights to go out to the front part of my driveway there and put them all in the ground. I hear the one dog this way of me barking and barking and barking, and then I hear, oh, give it up now. Be quiet. That's enough. I go down into the tall grass, hiding with my lights that aren't lit because they need to be solar powered yet. And I'm like, that sounded like it came over from the outhouse. In my mind, right? So, because I have a light on the outside of my house, I was smart enough not to walk across through the shadows of the light. I went through all around the trees and all around to go to the back door where I did not hear the voice. of this, shh, that's enough now, quit it, give it up, to my dog. So when I came into the house, I noticed the other dog wasn't barking anymore. That one that went this way of me. And so, because my back door at the time, it would squeak. Ee! So I opened it quickly and left it open for pretty much the whole rest of the night until daylight started to come. And during the time, as daylight was becoming about 3:30 in the morning, because of it must have been July, August when the situation was taking place, probably August, but it was about 3:30 in the morning when I noticed, oh, now the sun's coming up kind of thing. So, meanwhile, all night long, I can hear the one dog that went this way of me bark, but it sounded like she was enclosed, like barking in a house, or, barking in a truck, barking enclosed. And I was trying to think to myself, well, what's over that way that maybe they put her in? Nothing really. There's a shed down that way and stuff, and I went and checked, and it didn't look like no dog was in the shed, and no dog was in this old beat up truck out back. And so whatever they had her in, it was enclosed, and her barking noise changed. The other dog still kept barking. I'm inside the house at this point, like I say, and I'm listening. I open the window carefully because it can make ee noises, and it's very silent. Out here, there's no noises. You can hear like a rabbit hopping through the grass, just over there and stuff. It's very quiet. So, knowing this, I'm trying to be very quiet so I don't draw attention to what I'm doing. And so all night long, into the morning, I'm listening for my dogs and stuff. And the one this way of me stopped barking for several hours. And I was really quite frightened. I thought, did they kill her, Because I've lost other dogs that just disappear and never come back before this incident. And with the other dog, she gave it up for a bit, but started barking again. And when she started barking again, I could hear what I later figured out was a trap. Like those traps that they use for hunting that are metal, and they go cheek, because it made the whoosh, like the old Batman noises that they do whoosh and stuff. Yeah, well, I could hear in midair the noise of a chain, like somebody was swinging it, and it was like whoosh, 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 and then I could hear it hit the ground, chink, and as it hit the ground, that was like the second time, but the first time I heard it and it hit something. When my dog came back from this one, on that side of me, she had porcupine quills all in the side of her head. Now, if a dog attacks, it's going to have them in their mouth, not on the side of their head, unless they ran up to it and it hit it. But it's going to still bite at it and get more, from my experiences with dogs and porcupines. So, when I heard the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh thing, I made the connection that it was a trap thing. So later, like when I had somebody come out here, because I was kind of paranoid to even go in my forest just nearby over by the outhouse, I had somebody from the city come out so that I could go out into my forest and feel safe enough to look for evidence. What I looked for was, I was looking for porcupine quill evidence. And I found her. And it made a trail. There was no porcupine. It wasn't there, just the quills. And it looked like it had been dragged through the trees. So they obviously kept the dead porcupine as a trap inside the trap to use on the dog, but also dragged it back with them. And that stems up to the neighbor that put the private property crap on my sign, or on my sandhill just up the road. I did a little short video exposing that particular creature, and that particular creature is also involved with other parts, but there's too many stories to the creature over there on the hill with the private property signs, and the porcupine quills in the tree connect over to the same place. So, anyways, that's a story, and now I'm sidetracking again because 7 other stories have hopped into my mind. So I'm going to push pause, and I may just say that's it. Make it a wrap. I'm not sure yet here. Yes, I've realized I've almost hit 20 minutes, so I better make her a wrap. There's a couple rants. I know I started somewhere and ended somewhere else, but that's just what happens.